You're listening to Asia Pacific Forum on WBAI 99.5 FM in New York and streaming live on the web at wbai.org. And we're talking to Muhammad Ali and Hassan Muhammad Ali about the Arts and Islam tour that they're conducting in the United States, bringing Aerosol Arabic, the tag that Muhammad Ali is also known as, to the States, and talking about both the melding of hip-hop and Islam and the Muslim culture and contemporary British and U.S. culture. He connects graffiti and Arabic calligraphy in vibrantly hued, spray-painted images with a root connection, the written word. And now Ali's here in the United States. It's his first tour of the States, I think, a four-city tour, Arts and Islam tour. He's here in New York City, and he's in the studio with us, and we're really pleased to have him. Maybe one measure of the kind of, acceptance or understanding that people have shown towards your art is that we're also joined here in the studio by Hassan Muhammad Ali, who is with the Arts Council in Britain, right? And you're one of the sponsors of this tour, Arts in Islam. And I have to say, when we first heard that you were sponsoring that, we were kind of amazed that a government entity was getting behind this. I guess we just sort of think here, we see like hip-hop culture as kind of an insurgent art form and so forth, and it would be hard to imagine the government actually backing it, but that's what you're doing here. Talk a little bit about what you guys have been thinking.
Well, I'm glad you're surprised. That's a mark of success. I'll take that as a mark of success. Yeah, I'm a senior officer in the Arts Council. I work in diversity. My job really is to make sure that artists like Muhammad Ali get a fair hearing, that they get the kind of representation in terms of funding that everyone else gets. Mm-hmm. And that's not because, it's not for any motive other than, in one sense, is because people like Muhammad Ali are making good art. Right. They're making cutting edge art. And for me, as an artist myself, my model is Harlem, the Harlem Renaissance, actually, because I think the kind of art that was produced there is, I can see the kind of relationship between the art that's beginning to grow up within sort of Muslim and minority communities in England and with the Harlem Renaissance, and that is great American art. I think what Muhammad Ali is producing is great art based in England, based in Western culture, but coming at it from a different angle in terms of his artistic, cultural heritage. Mm. So, we're really pleased to be here. We're pleased to have sponsored this tour. I'm pleased to have been involved. I'm pleased to have been on a street corner in the Bronx today, watching Muhammad Ali, surrounded by young kids, putting up a mural in remembrance to the children from the Malian family who were burnt tragically in that fire, and to see him interacting. In one sense, I know it's a big argument, is art universal, but I can tell you what, Muhammad Ali today was connecting with the people in the Bronx. And for me, a member of the Arts Council England, I don't think there's any higher achievement, and there's no better investment for government money, which is public money after all.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, this show, Asia Pacific Forum, is devoted to community news and politics and culture in the Asian American communities. And one thing that I've been thinking a lot about as both Sukhdev Sandhu was on and then you guys are on, is how incredibly rich and vibrant the South Asian culture seems to be, right, in the UK, and how since 9/11, at least here, South Asian and Muslim communities have both been emerging and also under tremendous pressure, tremendous political pressure from the kind of crackdown that's happened. So has the entire immigrant communities here as people talk about cracking down on immigrants. What is you've been here now for a little while and interacting. How do you compare the two different scenes and worlds?
It's difficult for us to generalise, and we're in a country that we don't really know. We've only been here a few days, so I wouldn't want us to make authoritative statements on parallels and issues. But from what you're saying, I think the same kind of contradiction exists. And in one sense, I think that's where the creativity lies. I guess it's a strange thing to say, but that combination of resistance in one sense, an assertion in one sense, which Sukhdev was talking about, and then a large hostility, not necessarily from the general population in the UK, but from the powers that be, as it were, in terms of crackdown on Muslims in British society, which is undoubtedly going on.
Right.
The kind of contradiction, there's a kind of creativity welling up from that. That's not to say that all artists from Muslim backgrounds are political in an overt sense, but I sense that kind of vice that artists are in
Right.
is creating a very, very rich, urgent stream of artistic expression. There is a welling up of young Muslim artists in the UK. We're in the Arts Council. We're trying to do our best to develop and help them, because, to be honest, what they're saying, what they're trying to say, what they're struggling with, are the central questions in our society. They're the central questions this side of the Atlantic and our side of the Atlantic. And to be honest, there's nothing more important than those questions being explored, as Mohammed says, providing a platform for some of those deep, deep questions which our politicians can't seem to come to grips with in one sense, and our societies can't even seem quite to contemplate and understand what's going on around us. Artists, I think, are in the vanguard of trying to understand. And, that's critical, I think, that we give those artists support.
We've been talking to Muhammad Ali and Hassan Muhammad Ali about the Arts in Islam tour. They're on right now. You can find out more about that at our website at asiapacificforum.org. Thanks so much for coming in, guys.